Imagine a transit to Mars taking 5 days instead of 7 months, without heavy chemical fuel. In 2018, the U.S. Navy successfully patented a hybrid aerospace craft using an inertial mass reduction device to move through air and water with virtually no resistance. These technical filings, paired with public claims from former NASA veterans, have generated millions of views on YouTube and thousands of threads across internet UFO communities. But if this technology is in military patents and backed by aerospace experts, why are we still using combustion engines to leave the atmosphere? Every spacecraft built relies on Newton's third law. To go up, rockets blast high-velocity mass downward. A propellantless drive produces forward motion without expelling anything. It's the equivalent of sitting in a boat and blowing on the sail with a fan. The concept was popularized in the 1920s by inventors Thomas Townsend Brown and Paul Alfred Biefeld. Brown applied 30,000 volts to asymmetrical capacitors, like this Coolidge X-ray tube, and recorded a net force moving the apparatus toward the smaller electrode. He called it electrogravitics. Since the 1920s, a cycle repeats: a spark in a high-voltage lab, a sudden unexplained movement, and the claim of anti-gravity. The archetype of this cycle is John Searle and his 1940s invention, the Searle effect generator. The generator uses a series of concentric stator rings, surrounded by segmented, magnetized cylindrical rollers. Searle claimed that a specific routine of AC and DC magnetization would allow these rollers to levitate and accelerate frictionlessly, producing a self-sustaining source of electricity. He asserted that if you scaled the device up, it would produce an inverse gravity effect capable of lifting a flying disc. The design ignores the laws of thermodynamics, yet its highly specific material geometry, the law of the squares, became a fixed point for alternative energy enthusiasts. This pursuit isn't just for hobbyists. Major aerospace organizations have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars investigating these specific anomalies. NASA and the ESA attempted to replicate Evgeny Podkletnov's spinning superconductor gravity shield, while the U.S. Navy funded physical benchtop experiments to prove the Pi's effect. In every instance, the anomalous thrust vanishes under scrutiny. It is always revealed to be a measurement mirage. At high voltages, electricity begins ionizing the air molecules around the device. This creates a downward stream of particles called ionic wind that provides a small, measurable thrust. Once you place the device in a vacuum chamber where there is no air to ionize, the movement stops. Other false positives come from thermal expansion nudging the sensors, acoustic vibrations, or the Earth's own magnetic field coupling with the equipment. When the world's most sensitive instruments isolate these environmental factors, the propulsion disappears. The breakthrough was actually just background noise. When an inventor refuses to accept the data from these controlled tests, the device leaves the lab and enters the realm of internet mythology. Concepts like the Searle effect generator are kept alive on niche forums by communities who view the machine as a North Star for energy abundance. The narrative is seductive. It promises that a lone genius, working outside the system, has found a solution that baffles the world's biggest labs. Because proper replication requires specialized vacuum chambers and precise metrology, the myth stays safe from everyday debunking. This lack of public testing allows for the final, cynical stage of the physics myth, the monetized scam. The theories of the Searle effect have been packaged into a $50 DIY guide sold through ClickBank by a group called the Energy Liberation Army. This scheme doesn't target scientists. It targets homeowners struggling with rising electricity bills by promising an impossible, off-the-grid power source. The fine print reveals the truth. Buyers aren't receiving a generator, but digital PDFs of schematics that do not produce power. The grand vision of interplanetary travel is ultimately reduced to a predatory digital download. The 100-year history of anti-gravity serves as a case study in the difficulty of scientific measurement. When results aren't backed by transparent, peer-reviewed data, even the most radical patents end up as little more than jargon.